Hello, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the 2025 Total Energies CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. And today we are in Suez for the first Group C match between Senegal and the Central African Republic. The new Suez Stadium, as you can see, not quite full to its capacity of around 27,000, but those who are there watching on, hoping for a great couple of hours of football on this sunny May afternoon in a city most famous for its canal, but which I'm sure will be producing plenty of flowing football over the next couple of hours. These two drawn in Group C alongside another couple of tough competitors in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Ghana. They'll get their campaigns underway in 3 hours' time. Here the Senegalese youngsters arriving earlier in the day. Qualified for the tournament by winning the WAFU Zone A Championship for the second time running. Defeated Sierra Leone 2-0 in the final with goals from Sheikh Tidiane Thiam and Ibrahima Dieng. As for the CAR, their route to the finals was a little less conventional. Finished as semi-finalists in the UNIFAC qualifiers. They earned their spot following the suspension of the Congolese Football Federation. As you can see, very happy to be here, to be involved in this wonderful tournament. Rightly so. Finalists of the UNIFAC Under-20, which they hosted in September and October last year. The Under-20 Red Devils were to represent UNIFAC Zone alongside the DRC, winners of the qualifiers, but their suspension gives the young Central Africans a chance to get involved. They had lost in the semi-finals to the Congolese side.
For those who love it, those who support it, and those who play it, Orange is here. Orange, proud sponsor of African football.
Here, we're known for our sense of service. It's all about finding ways to support you. Day after day, doing everything we can to be useful and providing energy in all its forms. Everywhere, every time, all across the continent.
Players in the tunnel, just about ready to go. Senegal looking to kick off their title defence on the right foot. Certainly the favourites heading into this one of the favourites in the entire tournament. Central African Republic. Underdogs on the day. Underdogs too in the tournament, but with a point to prove, one they'll look to do so over the next 90 minutes or so of football. New Suez Stadium, resplendent in the early summer sunshine here in North Africa. Who will the sun be shining down upon across this afternoon's action? As the CAF anthem rings out, players will head out onto the Suez turf for the very first time. Special moment for all involved. As well, I'm sure, hearing their national anthem play out loud in their honour. And we will take a brief pause now for the two countries' national anthems. Sung out loud and proud on the pitch and on the sidelines. Now the turn of the Central African Republic. La Renaissance played out over the new Suez Stadium speakers for that Le Lion Rouge of Senegal, which was indeed sung out by Les Lionceaux. The Red Lion sung by the Lion Cubs in English, who will be roaring come the final whistle here in Suez. Well, here are the 11 Lion Cubs chosen by Serigne Saliou Dia. It is Mohamed Sissoko between the sticks, a back four of Traoré, Konate, Diouf and Diallo. Three in midfield, Dion, Dorival and Thiam. Mama Faye and Clayton Silverio Diandi will support Ibrahima Dieng in the attacking trio of a 4-3-3 for this Senegal under-20 side. Two captains will meet in the middle with Shahenda Saad El Magabi. Yeah, 33-year-old Egyptian has overseen some pretty big games in her burgeoning career. Some in the Under-20 Women's World Cup, the Women's Champions League and the Egyptian Premier League. She will be supported by those in the VAR office for any particularly contentious decisions that may have to be made. Mahmoud Ashur, the main man, watching on from one of the most important rooms in the stadium. It was Serigne Saliou Dia with the armband for the CAR. Ronaldo Zay is the man, the captaincy for this CAR 11. Boanaj Malimoto, the goalkeeper, with Yangba Biakolo Ondobo and Iakoma Zakabomada in the back four. Hidaro and Nganza, the double pivot in midfield. And Zay is joined by Baptiste Kilala and Landry Sungi, supporting Le for Cosina at the top of the tree. Here comes the countdown. So the referee blows the whistle and away we go in Suez. The away side gets us underway. Match day 1 in this year's Total Energies CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. Reigning champions Senegal take on the Central African Republic in Group C's very first match. Senegal in their traditional white with the green, yellow and red trim, shooting from left to right as we watch on in this first 45. The CAR in their traditional blue, with some defending to do here in the first minute. Chik Tiam looking for the 1-2 with Mama Faye, who's on the left wing in the official team sheet, but seems to have started the game on the right. Quite often we'll see wingers interchanging over the course of the 90 minutes to keep the fullbacks guessing. Let's see if that's the case here. Pierre Dorival wins the free kick just at the edge of his own half. Leon Youngster has been nicknamed the Camavinga of OL. In his current club in France, Lyon battling for the UEFA Champions League spots at the top of the French top flight. And Dorival impressing in the OL Academy. Big name to live up to, Camavinga of Lyon. Of course, Camavinga, Eduardo Camavinga, now of Real Madrid and the French national side. Similar traits for the two. Tenacious defensive midfielder Dorival. Adds steel and structure to the midfield. He, though, will be one of those battling on the edge of the CAR box here. So his free kick is set to be put in by Diandi. Oh, missed by everyone. There's a battle going on there on the far side. Look to the referee from young Senegalese, but appeared to be enough there to force her hand. Force a decision. Not enough for a penalty. Even more so in this early stage. Often see referees try and let the game flow in the early moments, keep things cool, calm and collected as long as possible. Diandi doing well to get his boot on that, but couldn't divert it to Lassana Traore, the Senegal left back. Turns 18 on Tuesday, looking for an early birthday present here. All 3 points. One in midfield by Leonso. Breakaway here. Here's Mama Faye again. Has options in the middle. Looks for the killer pullback, but just delayed a little too long perhaps there. Could only find a CAR defender. Side in blue try to play their way out from the back, but find a wall of white in front of them. Yet to really break forwards into the Senegal half with any purpose. As we head towards the 5-minute mark, we'll be on the defensive again here. Faye keeps it in. Again finds a defender. That one was trickier though. Ariel Mandobo doing enough. Again, CAR failed to play it out from the back. Comes straight back into their area. Malamoto couldn't get that one totally under his spell, but it set away a counter of sorts, and Senegalese captain Diouf forced the backtrack, got there first, and ultimately won the free kick. At that moment just before, the most commanding take of the ball, but did the job. Player lurking either side of him. Follow along with the hashtag Total Energies AFCON U-20. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're cheering on, what you've made of the first 5 minutes here. Decision goes the way of Les Lionceaux. Senegal play it out slowly, taking their time, in no hurry for now. They'll pick their moment though. And Faye with the interchange with Diallo. Didn't quite come off, and this will be the biggest danger for the reigning champions. The Central African counter. There is some speed in their team, but no slouches either in the Senegal backline. Diouf has shown that already. Plenty of pace for the 18-year-old, part of the Génération Foot Academy. Génération Foot in a partnership with FC Metz in the French league. Partnership has been going on for over 20 years now. Started in 2003 by President Carlo Molinari, and extended just over a year ago for another 5. We'll keep the two clubs linked through to 2033. Papa Dauda Diong just catching that one all wrong. Half chance comes and goes for Serena Saliu Dia's side. Going back to that partnership between Génération Foot and Metz, some big names have come through the ranks. Mark the first years of that collaboration. Emmanuel Adebayor, Papi Cissé, Sadio Mane. In more recent years, players including Ismaila Sarr taking their first steps in Europe via that link. Metz having dropped down to the 2nd division in France, but one of the potentials for promotion this late in the season. There are a couple of players in the Senegal backline who are part of that Génération Foot Academy. Captain Diouf, also Ibrahima Diallo alongside him. So know each other well, those two. Diallo just 17 years of age, youngest player in the Senegal 11. Ousmane Konate, his fellow defender there, trucked rather by the corner flag. Doing a decent job to hold off the close attentions of the CAR captain. Wonderfully named Ronaldo Lebronze. Two pretty iconic names in sport. Him to match up to, and he does have the number 7 of CR7 on his back, as well as his surname as his first name. Can he produce a performance befitting of one of the greatest ever football players across 2 or 3 weeks here in Egypt? Plenty of talent on both benches, set to feature at some point later on. Two head coaches will hope that it's not a case of an early substitution in force. That was the case yesterday for Morocco. A couple of injuries. Their match against Kenya on match day 1. Ultimately a 3-2 win for the Moroccan side. Yasser Zuberi, in the process of scoring a second, was forced off the pitch. But a reminder to try and, well, not take things easy, but not take too many risks so early into this campaign. Make sure to keep a level head, go through the motions, follow the game plan supplied by your head coach, and keep the excitement and any nerves under control. There is Diallo, knocks it on for Tia. Get there, delivered in with his first touch. Yet to find a player in white with their deliveries. Senegal, but they are getting into good positions. Just need to improve the final ball. Big challenge, one which could have a big impact here. Senegal have players over. Faye to run at the defence, lays it off for Diallo. Straight into the gloves of Malimoto. Well claimed this time. And the young Central African keeper really looks to set away his centre forward. And for Christina, this time unable to get on the end of that long ball. Senegal featuring in their 7th finals of the Under-20 AFCON. Eliminated in the group stages in their first 2 participations in 93 and 95, but have since reached the final in their last 4 appearances, and of course, the defending champions 2 years ago topped their group. A group also containing the mighty Nigeria, beating the Flying Eagles on match day 1 on that occasion. And 1-0 against Benin in the quarterfinals, 3-0 win over Tunisia in the semis, and a 2-0 win against Gambia in the final. Didn't concede a single goal en route to that title, scoring 14 in their 6 games. Pretty much perfect record. And they'll look to continue on here. Largely different group of players, though, of course. With some defending here to do This new crop up against Ronaldo Zay. Looking to cause some trouble on the right wing. Two for company. Does well to hold on to the ball. And there was a lash out as well from a frustrated Benjamin Idaro. It's that collision with Sheikh Tiam. Certainly had a hold. His opposite number there. Sheikh Tiam prevented Idaro getting onto the ball. Spotted by the referee, and a first free kick in a truly dangerous position here for the CAR. As we tick past the quarter-hour mark. 3 in the wall. The captain. Kilala to take. It is the left foot of Kilala. It was an attempt on goal, but well over in the end. Just not the required dip on the ball. The 17-year-old. That's one back. Deep inside the Senegal half. Penalty. Getting a foot to the ball. Out for a throw. This is a better spell though for the CAR. See how much Senegal dominated the early stages there. 73% of possession in the first 15. It's a CAR having a foothold in the game here and trying to snatch one against what has been the run of play. Kilala. Sent in towards the head of Lafort Cassina. Beaten to it by Diouf. Nice change of direction and an equally nice drop of the shoulder there from Sheikh Tiam. And again, Senegal failed to get it out of their own half. Sungi just beat into the ball. But by Papa Dauda Diong. Welcome relief, to be honest, for Les Lionceaux. It's the way the last few minutes have gone. Getting some territory back. Not the best piece of distribution from Malamoto, but wasn't too far off his goal line to tempt anyone into an opportunistic effort from near the halfway line. And that's also late. Looked perhaps a little vindictive there. Challenge on Senegalese captain from Lafort Cassina will earn him at least a word in his ear from the referee. Stretcher is called for Diouf. No attempt at the ball. It's left the Senegalese captain in a fair bit of pain, it would appear. Plenty of instructions passed on by Bruce Stéphane Abdoulaye, the CAR head coach. Appointed head of the CAR under-20 team last July, replacing Sebastien Ngato, who was promoted to the senior team. So holds the responsibility of leading the Central African juniors in this continental event. Former defender in his playing days. 42-year-old. Spent most of his career in France. Teams such as Grenoble, Clermont, Orléans, and the aforementioned Metz. He's spent much of his coaching career in France as well, since turning his attention to coaching just over a decade ago. But then taking the role of the head coach of the CAR A team for the African Nations Championship, before being entrusted with this new responsibility last summer. Reaching the finals was an achievement in itself, whether or not it was done initially on the pitch. Here though, a new challenge, and one which could prove tougher still, as they are thoroughly put on the back foot by Senegal. Straight after the restart, Pierre Dorival unmarked at the edge of the box. They should have done better. It was good work from Yakoma Zakabamada. Get in the way of the shot. Set back in at the back post by Diouf, who seems to be moving fine now after a couple of minutes recovery. Dorival is the latest bundled over by a player in blue, Baptiste Kilala, this time the guilty party. And see where the comparisons with Camavinga come from. Moves similarly with the ball. Of course, the similar haircut doesn't hurt. That, though, not a delivery. His Real Madrid namesake would be that proud of. Straight to Malamoto. Flicked on by Kilala. CAR can work their way back up the pitch. Throw here on the edge of the final third. Came off Kilala last. Will be a Senegal throw. Yes, this is just the third appearance for the CAR at the AFCON Under-20 finals. Third in a row, though. Participated in 2021 and 23. Back in the early 80s, did feature in the qualifying round in a different format, but finally made it to the finals in 2021. Les Fauves, or the Wild Beasts in English, made sure to make the most of that opportunity. 1-1 draw in their first ever match. Was followed up by a loss to Burkina Faso, but a crucial 2-1 win over Tunisia, featuring 2 goals in just over a minute, saw them through to the knockout rounds. He did unfortunately fall out the quarter-final stage to Gambia, with a very respectable first appearance. He couldn't carry that momentum into 2023, though. Finished bottom of the group with just a single point, having scored just a single goal. Looking to bounce back here, back in Egypt for the second time in a row. Hosting duties were, of course, originally handed out to the Côte d'Ivoire, but just over a month ago, withdrawing as hosts, and thus forfeiting their automatic qualification spot. Egypt chosen as the replacement, having previously submitted a bid during the initial bidding process. Wonderful hosts the Egyptians have been once again in the early days of this latest edition of the biennial Youth AFCON tournament. 25th edition in all, 18th. With a host country. Of course, also serves as the qualifiers for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. 4 semi-finalists will also earn themselves a spot as the CAF representatives for the 2025 Under-20 World Cup in Chile this September and October. Reigning champions Uruguay couldn't defend their title. Won't have a chance to if they finish 5th in the 2025 South American Under-20 Championship. Mohamed Sissoko takes a risk there. He gets away with a brave piece of keeping from the 20-year-old, one of the oldest in the tournament, born on the 21st of January, just 3 weeks after the cut-off, the 1st of January 2005 rather. There was that drop of the shoulder from the 20-year-old keeper. Senegal quickly down the other end, winning a free kick. Position you'd expect this to threaten. Over a quarter of the game gone now. Still, we await the first goal. It's into a good area. It was onto the head of Serigne Fallou Diouf. He claims a deflection. He won't get the corner. Was one of the better deliveries from their early set pieces for this young Senegal side. To see from this angle, it did look like there might have been a case there for the corner. Certainly, Dia looking a little frustrated one way or another. It's the 3 shots so far in little under half an hour's action. Oh, 2 CAR defenders getting in each other's way there. Might be punished in it. For 1 or 2 calls for handball there. That was charged down bravely by, I think it was Abdias Youngba, but referee not interested. VAR can, of course, check moments like that. See whether it might be worth a second viewing for the referee. Momentum has rather swung back in Senegal's direction and opened up for the shots from Mama Faye. And, well, striking the woodwork, but that only via the advertising hoardings behind the goal. You see that moment just before, and it did seem to strike the arm. Is there a delay here as VAR looks at that? Referee, it seems, just making clear what she expects from the players here. As they jostle and bustle in the box. It'll be Clayton Severio Diandi to take the corner. Queue of players. Head past the penalty spot. It was over all of them. Again, headed wide. And this time by Ousmane Konaté, the other Senegalese centre-back. Fair way out, but a free header. Another half chance for the reigning champions to get their title defence up and running. See the frustration there from Saliou Dia. By the time we return to the action, we were right on the edge of the CAR area again. Tony Biacolo and co have been busy in the opening half an hour, but are thus far holding firm. It's a decent piece of defending from centre-back, but ultimately offside flag up either way against Senegal. Previously had always been the bridesmaid, never the bride on this stage, Senegal. For that title 2 years ago, we're three-time runners-up. The under-20 AFCON claiming the silver medal 2015 as hosts, 2017 and 2019. On home soil, it was a 1-0 loss to seven-time champions Nigeria in the final. 2017, 2-0 loss to Zambia. 2019, already painful third successive defeat in the final, made even more painful as they lost to Mali via a penalty shootout. So a real feel-good winner 2 years ago, and with a very impressive set of players. Papa Diop, who's currently playing in Belgium for Zulte Waregem, as the top scorer in the competition with 5 goals. Lamine Camara, now of Monaco in Ligue 1, another battling for UEFA Champions League spots alongside Lyon. Won the Best Player award and landing Badji the Best Goalkeeper. Yes, so we see a shot of Bruce Stéphane Abdoulaye. This man now on your screen, Saliou Dia. Referred to that ever-changing pool of players for these kind of competitions. He said we've lost about 50 to 60% of our championship winning team. The country has an impressive pool of talent. We now need to rebuild a solid and competitive squad. Many are waiting for us to slip up, but we must stay humble and work hard. What matters is what we show on the field. Certainly no shortage of humility thus far. Not taking anything for granted against one of the tournament's underdogs. Yet to find a way through stubborn Central African backline. Issue here for Boanaj Malimoto. Gloves off, boots off. Chance to take on a bit of hydration on the sidelines. There was the deflected effort from Mamafaye. He's been busy in this first half. Plays his club football in Turkey for Erokspor. Impressive season thus far, 5 goals in 23 appearances for the 19-year-old. Starting to make a name for himself in Europe, as so many have done following impressive showings in this tournament in the past. Always been a window into the future of African football, the under-20 AFCON. Extraordinary talents, first capturing continental and then world attention. Plenty who have dazzled in the past. Yaya Toure winning the Best Player award back in 2003. For him, Michael Essien. And now this current crop look to make their name. Ball into the box was cleared away. Remains with Senegal. Diong back out to Diallo. Diong thinking about floating it in early. Once again comes back to the number 6. Let's change the direction from Diallo with 2 or 3 defenders in front of him. No way through. Senegal forced all the way back to Sissoko. He handed possession over. Well, he should have handed possession to the CAR, but just dawdling on the ball a little here. Bailed out by his defenders there. That was a little sluggish from Yangba. It'll be a test of the stamina of these CAR players. Have to do a lot of running. Always the way of the team without the ball. Senegal with almost 3/4 of the possession thus far. The ball into the box, but another ultimately disappointing one. Ronaldo Zay over on the left wing. Could have lost that in a costly position, but it's out for a throw. Minutes to go in this first half. Yakuma Zakabamada takes the throw, but it's going to come straight back in the direction of his own goal. Here's Tiam into the middle, onto the bar by Ibrahima Dieng. But that clearly the closest Senegal have come thus far. This time striking the woodwork for real. Not via the advertising hoardings. Well-worked move. 1-2 between the 8 and the 9. Taken first time by Dieng. Couldn't quite keep it low enough. CAR escape. Too close for comfort, certainly. Hard taskmaster that is Serinia Sariudia. Still full of constructive criticism for his players. The referee does now have a finger in her ear. Presumably VAR just checking something, but check over, and we will get back underway with a CAR goal kick. Nice piece of control from Zay, but it's given away by Junior Nganza. Continuing to dominate the ball, Senegal haven't done quite enough with it as yet to reflect that in other such statistics. Do have 7 shots to the 1 of the CAR thus far, but none yet officially on target, as close as they may have come with some of those. Diouf keeping his head and finding his fellow centre-back there when he could have hoofed it into row Z. This one back, though, by CAR. Now here's their captain. Zay runs into trouble. To run back towards his own goal. Out comes Malimoto. Crucially got there, as did Nganza. Both had to win their respective duels and did so. Surely would have been the opener if either had been beaten to the ball there. Forwards they come again, looking to turn the screw here late in the first half. Finishing it with total control. Nice idea. Playing that around in triangles, a dink through ball for Tiam. Not quite finding its target though. Diallo winning another duel, albeit a far easier one than some of those he's contested in this first half. So 5 minutes remaining. Can CER turn the tide here? Or is it a case of just trying to survive through to half-time on level terms? They've certainly not parked the bus here. It's a suitably defensive approach against the reigning champions, for a side who's only ever won one game at the under-20 AFCON finals. But yes, they're holding their own thus far. Can that continue? Lassana Traore takes his time to pick out the right pass. He found the boot of Thiam, flicked it on. The attempt was smothered and offside anyway. Still just the final ball that's not been quite good enough for Senegal. Not a very nice build-up play. It's a tight call on the offside. Ultimately, it was dealt with by the CER backline either way. Powerful header forwards. Well controlled by Cassina. Sungi was caught by Traore. Left back protests his innocence. Referee's mind made up. And the team in blue here will have an opportunity to worry the Senegal backline once again, late on from a set piece in the first half. Mohamed Sissoko organising his defence. Along with Nigeria, Senegal, one of two countries to have reached the final at 4 successive tournaments and are aiming to become the first team to successfully defend their title since Nigeria. They won 4 in a row in the 80s. So far, not having things all their own way though here. They haven't got the best set of results in their opening game across those 6 previous appearances. 2 wins, 3 draws, 1 defeat. Sometimes started a little slowly. Though they will be disappointed with anything but a victory. Worked it forwards nicely here. Diallo forces his way past Zay into the middle. Up in the air from Idaro. Ultimately wide of the goal from Mama Faye, who also tries to claim the corner, doesn't get the decision. Good work again by the 17-year-old, number 17. That's Faye over on the left-hand side now. Perhaps should have done better, taking nothing away from Malamoto, who was quickly out to make life difficult for the forward. Did enough, whether or not there was the slightest nick. Great work from the keeper. Another one of the more experienced members of the squad, like his fellow keeper this afternoon. Just 3 months younger than Mohamed Sissoko. Turned 20 on Monday. Into the final of the first 45. Yeah, Dorival just caught there and needing a bit of help from a teammate to would appear. A touch of cramp brought on by that contact. He's back on his feet now. Back underway with perhaps time for one more clear-cut opportunity for Senegal. Diandi trying to nick that away. Beaten to it. I'd be really disappointed to concede this late. The well-drilled CAR defence. They'll have just 2 minutes to try and survive before heading down the tunnel. Potentially on level terms. It is currently there with a throw in the Senegal half. Could they even nick one here? Snatch away a lead. It's one of the final moments of the first half. Oh, no could be the answer, and it could become much worse. Importantly, cut out. Certainly looked frustrated on occasion during this first 45, Serigne Saliou-Dia. See why these players haven't always been clicking. Certainly not quite as well as he'd like. Up against it here again. The final minutes of the first half. Important intervention from Konate. That was sitting up, ready to be hit. That's probably that now for the first half. There were moments of brilliance shown by the reigning champions. And ultimately, they've been kept at bay by their much lesser fancied opponents. Referee Shahenda El Maghrabi blows for half-time here in Suez, with the score still cemented down at 0-0. Senegal with much more of the ball, far more shots, but in truth, CAR good value for their parity that they've earned after the first 45. Final huddle on the pitch for the CAR side. Senegal head straight for the tunnel. I wonder if they'll be getting a bit of the hairdryer treatment from Serigne Saliou-Dia. Perhaps a little harsh if so. With a better final ball, a better final touch in front of goal. On one or two occasions they would be comfortably in control of this match day one meeting. As you can see there, 69% of the possession ultimately. 8 shots to just the 1 of their opponents, and far better accuracy. But the most important stat there on your screen is 0 shots on target apiece. That's something certainly Serigne Saliou-Dia and his Senegal side will have to address in the second half when they return just under 15 minutes time. So look back at the first half of this match day 1 meeting between the reigning champions, Senegal, and the Central African Republic, the under-20 AFCON. Sent in early by Sheikh Tiam. Malamoto couldn't quite gather it up, but nonetheless cleared away by the Central African Republic, and it could turn into a counter-attack here. Landry Sungi bursting down the left, beaten to the ball by Serigne Fallou Diouf. Senegalese captain bundled over. Most confident piece of keeping from Malamoto, but no harm done. It's fired goalwards by Baptiste Gilala. Not getting the requisite dip on that free kick. Slip standing on the ball there could prove costly. It's going to be cut back to the edge of the area where Dorival can strike. His shot blocked at close range. The Camavinga of Lyon, as he's known, at his own club in the French top flight. And the best chance thus far. Well blocked though by Iakoma Zabagamada. Floated into a good area and onto the head of Serigne Fallou Diouf. Senegal captain couldn't though divert it goalwards. Diandi with the corner, it's onto the head of a Senegal centre-back once again, this time Ousmane Konate. Same story though, as the header drifts wide. One back by Tiam, he'll get it back, 1-2 with Dieng. It's going to be back onto the boot of Dieng and onto the bar from Senegal's number 9. Well, that is close, as Les Lionceaux have come in the first half. Well, welcome back to Egypt for the second half of this first Group C game between reigning champions Senegal and the Central African Republic at the 2025 Total Energies CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. And it is 0-0 at the halfway point. Senegal frustrated this far. And the response from Serine Saliou Dia is a half-time change. On will come their number 7 for the second half, Yaya Dieme. Only time will tell if that change has the desired effect. They were largely frustrated in the first 45. 8 shots, but none on target. We get back underway here. Can they change the story? The narrative of this game has been largely a frustrating one thus far. Would certainly be considered 2 points dropped by the defending champions if they fail to find a way past this CAR defence. Immediately on the front foot, but claimed by Guanaj Malimoto. Shows he's fully back at the races after that 15-minute break. So too are Senegal. Here they come again. Papa Daouda Diong into the middle. It was onto the boot of Ibrahima Dieng. Not for the first time this afternoon. He claims a deflection, but won't get the corner. And he might have a point. The benefit of hindsight and a second viewing. Did that take a nick off Rafael Yakoma Zabakamada? Ultimately, it won't matter as we get back underway with a CAR goal kick. Can they actually break out of their own half for the first time? The answer is yes. Kilala, however, can't find his captain. Space on the right-hand side here for the substitute. Dieme will run at CAR's number 3. Zaba Kamada doing enough, as did his number 5 alongside Biakolo. They are rather pinned back here in the opening couple of minutes, though. CAR did well to make it through to half-time. But one would assume some fairly stern words from the Senegal head coach, judging by his animated, at times aggravated nature on the touchline in the first 45. He certainly come back out of the tunnel with more energy to show. Benefit of 15 minutes of rest as well. In a pretty warm Suez setting. It's 26 degrees currently in the north of Africa. I wonder if there was a knock though for Mama Faye, because as much as a change not totally surprising after that first half for Senegal, Faye was one of their more consistent threats, consistent sources of creativity. Here though, the young man who replaced him, Yaya Dieme, already making life difficult for his left back, and there is the immediate impact into the middle from the substitute and headed home by Sheikh Tiam. They were made to wait, but that start to the second half is a lot more like what they expected in the first. A little over 3 minutes since the restart, and Les Lionceaux find the breakthrough. Great delivery in from Yaya Diemim. And there, with all the space and time in the world to pick out the bottom corner, was Sheikh Tiam. And here to the crowd, and the travelling Senegal fans, making their appreciation well known and well heard. Sheikh Tiam opens the scoring. We get back underway with less than 5 minutes played in the second half. How do the CER now go about matters? 40 minutes remaining. Game plan was surely to hold on to that clean sheet as long as they could. Saw them try and nick one on the break on occasion in the first half. Now though, will they come out of their shell a little more? Immediately, they are on the front foot. I think they get their corner as well. Reminder of the hashtag, Total Energies AFCON U-20. Get involved with the conversation online at your social media platform of choice. Indeed, it is to be a CAR corner. A rarity thus far. This is their first of the match. It is indeed just the third of the match for either side. And ultimately a disappointing one. Ronaldo Zay straight into the first man at the front post. Well, Zay claiming that he was not involved because he was clearly stood in an offside position, but then letting the ball hit him. There initially wasn't a whistle, as all the Senegalese defenders looked nonplussed. But we do get the offside flag. Actually, it was a tighter call than the CAR captain might have realised. Was a player offside, but it wasn't him. Maybe should have played on, and VAR could have got involved there for CAR. Here is Ronaldo Zay once again. This time on the opposite wing in the opposite half. Trying to force his way out. Up against Clayton Diandi. Return to the left wing. He and Faye swapping from right to left, back and forth in the first half. Looks like the new number 7 will be sticking to the right wing, and with good reason, having already grabbed the first assist of the game. Yaya Diemé, who made 4 appearances at the Under-17 World Cup for Senegal a couple of years ago, earning their spot after their Under-20 or Under-17 AFCON triumph. Grabbed 1 assist there in his 4 appearances, and he needed 3 minutes here to match that tally for the Under-20s. He's still just 17 years of age. One of the youngest on the pitch. And here he is again. Cuts inside Sungi. This time goes for goal himself, but that will dribble wide of the far post in the end. Not quite the power or the accuracy he would have hoped for. Almost turned into a good cross for either Dieng or Tiam. CER remain with just the 1 goal deficit to try and overcome, at least for now. Quick fire double, and you sense this one might have got away from the less experienced CER side. They seem to have steadied the ship in the aftermath of the opener. 10 shots in total, but that header from Thiam was the first on target for either side. 100% conversion rate from their attempts on target, just a 10% conversion rate in terms of their shots on the whole. A nasty clash here between the man who set up that first goal and the player he beat in order to do so, Yakoma Zakabamada, and Senegal's number 7, Yaya Diémé. Seems to be the elbow that is the lasting issue. I mentioned another Yaya in the first half, Yaya Touré, former best player at the under-20 AFCON. Michael Essien before him. Didn't get round to mentioning perhaps the biggest African footballer of recent times. A little later in under-20 AFCON history, Mo Salah made his mark on the tournament. His raw talent evident long before he became Liverpool's Egyptian king. Now breaking records, lifting Champions League and Premier League trophies. English Premier League secured for the Reds just a week ago. Salah still in with a shout of the Ballon d'Or for 2025. Here though, we focus on the latest African prospects, and certainly some of those in the Senegal setup, as we see a first yellow card of the game handed out. And it is to Benjamin Idaro. Been in the ward today, Serigne Fallou Diouf, Senegal captain, on the end of a couple of pretty hefty challenges. Shaking that one off once again though. Idaro will have to be careful for the next half an hour or so. Another of the oldest in the competition, born on the 26th of January. He's all of 5 days older than Ariel Ondobo, behind him in the CAR backline. From one number 18 to another, CAR's into the book. Senegal's on the turf. Clayton Silverio Diandi, latest to be roughed up a touch by those in blue. He's straight back on his feet though, and into the box. Here's Diémé, cut inside, holds off for now. Just hold off. It proved a little too long and can't make amends with the sliding challenge. The CAR breakaway is going to come to nothing as Mohamed Sissoko heads out to the edge of his box to claim that one without too much trouble. Well, still being offered a lot of space here, Yaya Diémé, since put the ball on a plate for Sheikh Thiam. Still, they're not really closing him down all that much, surprisingly. This time it's Traoré with some space. Briefly on the left-hand side, did well to put the ball in. It's going to be all the way over to Diémé. That is a shot most likely on target, hard to tell from this angle, but without the required power to really challenge Malamoto. Diallo ushered out of play there by Landry Sungi. The first change for CAR will be the departure of their captain. Armband handed off to Tony Piaccolo, and Ronaldo Zay heads for the sidelines. He'll be replaced by CAR's number 12, namely Ryan Kolingba. You'll get pretty much exactly half an hour plus additional time to show what he can do. Bit of a miscommunication there between Malamoto and his defender. Shots to the 1 of CAR. Still though, the game is thoroughly in the balance. Just one goal between them. See, that effort from Diemi did go down as an attempt on target. It's the second in an hour. Held up by Dieng. Finds Diong, turned away nicely and decided to try his luck there from range, but drifting wide. That was the kind of chance that Senegal were largely reduced to in the first half. Pot shots from range, or balls into the box, which didn't find their target. It looked far more dangerous since the restart. Far more direct. Saliudia, who previously led Senegal to the under-17 AFCON title. He is now in charge of the under-20s. Tactically astute coach, known for adapting his strategies to suit the opposition, albeit while maintaining a clear identity of attacking structured football. We've seen him tweak his setup here to deal with the low block employed by CAR. The referee has paused proceeding once again to check on a Senegalese player prostrate on the turf. It's this time, it's the captain again. It's Serine Faloudiv, who found himself the meat at a CAR sandwich there between Kilala and Sungi, and landing awkwardly. Stefan Abdoulaye not best pleased, but he's got some work to do here. The final half an hour and another change in the offing. Just a couple of minutes after the first, Zay is joined on the sidelines by Kilala. Those two which seem the best source of chances early on for the CAR, but have been increasingly isolated in the second half. Discussions ongoing between Sungi and Diouf. He's now back on his feet, albeit moving a little gingerly. Up into the air by Biacolo. Yangba, who's rarely been able to get forwards in support of the right winger since the first 15 minutes, really. He is late to that challenge. I think we'll avoid joining Idaro in the book. It was clumsy rather than malicious, certainly for the CAR right back. That's another source of worry here for the CAR backline. It's kept alive at the back post by Dieng. But again, just they're not catching the shots quite right. The Senegalese players, that was, you could perhaps say, the strike of a centre-back from Konate. Not to do any defenders out there a disservice. Not the cleanest contact, certainly. Malimoto far from troubled. Once again, they win it back very quickly, though. Le Lionceau look to break away. Diandi uses his pace, went for the corridor of uncertainty. But it was plucked out of the air with no uncertainty by Malimoto. Diame to use his acceleration. Can't believe he doesn't get either the free kick or the corner. Happy to go to ground, it'd be fair to say, but was eased on his way there by Ariel Andobo. Another booking, this time for a Senegal player. Ibrahima Diallo enters the book. Sungi involved in everything in the last 5 minutes. Into the final quarter of this game now. Certainly blocked off Sungi, but making sure the referee knew. Diallo into the book. Floated in. It was headed away, but only as far as Junior Ganza. He looked to send it back to those waiting in blue in the box, but claimed by Sissoko. Looks to set away his team as quickly as possible. That might backfire. But good work there from Dorival. Get out of a tight spot. His manager said how rapidly he's been improving in terms of his reading of the game and tactical astuteness, and that has been clearly on display at times for the OL prospect. Tracking back here as CAR look to find the gaps in the Senegalese defence, but calmly chested home to Mohamed Sissoko. And the Central African players very quickly have to return to their own half. Here is Diong. Waits for support. It arrives in the shape of Diandi. Looking once again. That ball to the edge of the 6-yard box. Sent back where it came from by Ondobo. Senegal will have a corner. Just their third of the game and their first of the second half. Can they do anything with it? Double their lead and make the final 20 minutes far more comfortable. Oh, not with a delivery like that. Bit of a miss kick, I think, and sailing over everyone. CAR let off the hook on that occasion. And Boanaj Malamoto will eventually get us back underway, but not before. There's another double change for CAR. Lafort Cosina makes way for the number 9, a straight swap. And the centre forward position. And Sungi also making way for Diogen Pengazonia. So Besnard and Pengazonia completing the total refresh of the front four for the CAR. Every player in blue who started the match in an attacking position has been replaced. Will those fresh legs, fresh ideas bear fruit in the final 20 minutes? A good challenge from Diandi, but it's found its way to another CAR player. And by Goto, Kolingba now cutting inside. Well worked from right to left, but ball a little too far ahead of Pengazonia to get involved for the first time. Diallo was forced to put it out though, and it's been won back and brought into the edge of the area. Shot blocked. Senegal here though on the back foot for the first time really in the second half. Those an important challenge potentially to stop one attack and set away another. Dieme, 3 in the middle, needs to go himself, heads to the byline. Fullback was cut out by the new CAR captain, Tony Biacolo. Seemingly the last touch coming off Yaya Dieme. So Malamoto able to take another goal kick, and well, CAR don't reach the halfway line, however. Possession stats have evened out just a touch since half-time, but still largely dominated by Les Lionceaux. That's a miss-hit pass, though, by Dorival. CAR will look to make them pay on the counter, and they have a great opportunity to do so here. In on goal, and there's the equalizer from the substitute, Diogen Pengazonia. Just like that, in the blink of an eye, all Senegal's hard work has been cancelled out. We are back on level terms with a little over 15 minutes remaining. There's the reward for the travelling fans. Headed north from the CAR. Brilliantly timed pass and run. Just wondered for a second there as he looked to lose his momentum, Pengazonia. But he reset himself, steadied himself, and slotted the ball home into the bottom corner. Nothing Sissoko could do with their first shot on target, just as was the case for their opponents. CAR find the net, and unsurprisingly, It's all change in white, a triple change. Three of the four remaining substitutions available to Sarina Saliutia are all made at once. Defending champions concede for the first time in more than a tournament. Their last defeat in open play at the finals was a 2-0 loss in the 2017 final. And they had kept 9 clean sheets in their last 11 games at the under-20 AFCON finals, a run of 11. They'd only conceded 2 goals and scored 24 in that time. There, though, is their first concession since 2021. Could be a costly one. As the CAR have the wind in their sails now, looking to turn this one around. A point would exceed expectations for one of the tournament's underdogs up against the reigning champions. Senegal, though, looking to immediately restore their lead. Diémé's cross into the box dealt with. This game is opening up, tempo increasing as we enter the final 15 with all to play for. Substitutes looking to prove their worth. You have to say they've done so thus far on both sides. Diémé with the assist very soon after coming on. And down the other end, Bangasonia with the equalizer with one of his first touches. Papamagaye, one of those 3 brought on for the final quarter of an hour. He's trying to get on the end of that, but it's instead going to drop to his fellow substitute, Abdurrahman Dia. Rangy centre forward. Added a different dynamic to this Senegal attack. New aerial threat. Something they were perhaps lacking with Dieng. Different type of forward. More the kind to score exactly like that, breaking away, producing a clinical finish. It's actually been nicknamed Pauletta Dieng by his teammates in honor of the Portuguese hero of years gone by. Spent plenty of time with Bordeaux and Paris Saint-Germain. 141 goals in his 266 games at those 2 clubs. More than 200 across his entire career. On this occasion, though, Dieng couldn't live up to that kind of scoring efficiency. He'll have to go again on match day 2. That's floated in towards Sana Traore. Didn't reach him, now it will. Oh, having got their tails up after the equaliser, CR now settling back down to that defensive shape. It's a wonderful run by the Senegal captain. Almost proved to be a brilliant assist, and well, ultimately that is a disappointing finish from Magaye. Another reaction of his head coach. Had more time than he perhaps realised there. Dion to Dieme. Take on his fullback once again. It's a good challenge though this time from Yakoma Zawakamada. He's had a tough time of it. Yeah, Angers left back. Up against Mamafei, and then fresh legs of Dieme in the second half. Largely held his own. Yet to be used by his French club this season as they battle against relegation in Ligue 1. But showing he's one to consider, certainly for the future. Early performances here. Just leaning back there. Gaezi passed up another opportunity. Senegal now with 10 minutes to try and restore their lead. Dia. He tried to send it in towards Gay. This is more like the Senegal side of the first half. Pass is not sticking. Hopeful balls into the box. Cool, calm and collected. Bruce Stefan Abdoulaye on the sidelines for CAR. Owner of a football academy in France, CAR head coach. Always relies on rigorous organisation in his team, trying to ensure balance. They have been very well organised for the most part. Having to organise their setup for another Senegal free kick here though. Lifted in to a dangerous area, but plucked out of the air by Malamoto. Looks for options ahead of him. Ultimately gives it away fairly needlessly. Comes straight back in his direction now. It's played behind the run of Traore, which killed the momentum of that move a touch. Hasn't had the best cameo thus far. Papa Magegaye. Still time though for him or anyone else on the pitch to become the hero. They're still under 2/3 of the possession now. CAR continue to even out that particular stat. And you can see there from Boanaj Malamoto taking his time to dive on the ball that they will be very satisfied with a point here. CAR to take their time where they can over set pieces and try and help the clock tick down towards the 90-minute mark, whilst I'm sure keeping their eye on any potential breakaway opportunity to snatch all 3 points, which would be one of the biggest upsets in this competition in some time. Mentioned Senegal's astonishing run without a defeat in this competition. It's rather the opposite tale for the CAR. On a 4-game winless run at the finals, having lost their final game against Gambia in 2021 and their opening 2 in 2023 before the final draw. They have met a defending champion previously, back in the first round qualifier in 1981. That was Algeria. They won the first leg 4-1. Couldn't play the second leg due to civil unrest. Could they shock the defending champions once again, more than 4 decades on? All it takes is one moment. Saw that there. Well executed ball over the top. And a calm finish from Pengazonia. This is far from said and done. Sungi watching on as Idaro receives treatment. I wonder if he might be the 5th and final substitution to be made by Bruce Stefan Abdoulaye on a yellow card and now seemingly carrying a knock. For now, CAO will have to defend with a numerical disadvantage. Sheikh Tiam spins away next to Setaway Gaye. Back to Tiam. Diong to Diouf, looks for options in front of him, has to resort to a pass to his fellow centre-back. Kanate does lift the ball forwards, but doesn't find a player in white. Diallo combining with DMA. Two 17-year-olds. Of course, chaos down that right wing at times in this second half. Would that be the case again here? Well, there was your moment, Senegal. It was that same combination again. DMA onto the head of Sheikh Tiam. But where a little over a half an hour ago, they combined perfectly for the opener. This time, he headed wide, and that would prove to be his final touch of the ball. Tiam is Senegal's final substitution of the evening. On in his place comes the number 10, Sedi Diouk. He'll have about 5 minutes to show his manager what he can do. Try and earn himself a place in his thoughts ahead of match day 2. Will that prove to be the moment for Senegal? Or not if Dieme can do anything about it. Here he comes again. Got it in to the middle to Dia, who beat Malamoto to the ball and couldn't keep it in play. Looks the most likely source of either goal or assist for Senegal in these crucial moments. Yaya Dieme made a great case to be involved from the first whistle. In a few days' time, match day 2, Senegal will take on Ghana. That'll be on Monday evening. Will they be at the top of the group when things get underway there? Could they be at the bottom? CAR win it back in the Senegal half and win a free kick. First involvement of note from Diouk is not the kind he'd have been hoping for. Catching Pengazonia, who has produced exactly the kind of involvement he'd have been dreaming of. Entering the fray. Ball is floated in, straight onto the head of Diouf. He tied up on the edge of the area. Sent towards Dia, who brings it down brilliantly on his chest. Waits for the cavalry to arrive. Gaye did arrive and was promptly wiped out by Abdias Yangba. Right back Plays his football in Italy. He's the latest to enter the referee's book. They are from all over the Senegal squad, as mentioned. A few from France. Kilala playing for Antwerp in Belgium. Cohesive unit though, even if they have been frustrated. It's floated in, but that'll be catching practice for Malamoto, and only 3 minutes of stoppage time. Wonder if there might be a little more than that. Time is now officially running out for Senegal. Could CAR be the team to produce the final clear-cut opportunity of this match? Perhaps not. Didn't break into the final third now, and we'll have to retreat. Gaye, however, also can't find a way through. Bengazonia making a nuisance of himself, making life difficult for the Senegal defenders, more so than any of those who started the match had. That's going to be flicked on, but run abandoned, and Malamoto will head to the corner of his area by a few seconds and ensure that Abdurrahman Dia exerts a few more calories before picking up the ball. Sends it long. Half of the 3 minutes has already come and gone. It's now or never for Senegal if they want to pick up where they left off 2 years ago with a win. It's always going to be a hard act to follow. A pretty much faultless campaign resulted in the trophy being lifted. Into the final minute, and it's the CAR side with the ball. Frustrating, Leon So, but now, is this the chance, the last chance? It's knocked on by Gaye, but just caught in two minds there. I think Usenu fell sec. You see the reaction there from Junior Nganza. Seeing the CAR defender slide in, just threw Sek off his game, and ultimately it was his touch, the final one. And so the 3 minutes up, CAR goal kick to come, and it is the final kick of an enthralling 90 minutes in Suez. Not the dream start for Senegal. The reigning champions are held to a draw by the underdogs in Group C. It is a dream start for the Central African Republic. They held firm in the first half, and despite conceding early in the second to a Sheikh Tiam header, they held their nerve, kept their heads, and eventually grabbed their equalizer. Diogen Pengazonia breaking beyond the Senegalese backline and slotting home what would prove to be a goal which earns them their first points of the 2025 Under-20 AFCON. It is Sheikh Tiam, your man of the match, the goal scorer. He could have won it. Similar chance Well, here's on his side second, which he couldn't convert. Will certainly be the CER players, though, who are the happier here with their share of the spoils. Great confidence boost for them for the rest of this group stage. They've taken a point away from the defending champions. Why not from the other two? Ghana and the Democratic Republic of the Congo will kick off in just over an hour's time.
Congratulations on the man of the match award. How did you feel about the result?
Merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup. Je pense que c'est gentil de m'avoir donné ce trophée. Mais bon, je pense que c'est un travail d'équipe. On n'a pas eu le résultat qu'on a souhaité. Mais bon, la compétition reste des matchs. On va se concentrer sur le prochain match, sur le prochain adversaire de Ghana.
And what did you think you do different in the next match that will bring you the win?
Je pense. Je pense que, comme je dis, c'est un travail d'équipe. C'est pas moi. Je pense que toute l'équipe a fait un bon boulot. Malheureusement, on a encaissé un but tardif. Mais bon, je pense que c'est pas la fin du monde. On va se relever pour le prochain match contre le Ghana. Ça va pas être facile, mais bon, on va relever le défi, Inch'Allah.
What are your analysis onto this match? What did you think went wrong for your side?
Je pense que je ne vais pas faire trop les analyses. On va en parler en privé avec le coach. On va faire des séances vidéo, voir ce qui n'a pas marché, ce qui a marché, ce qu'il faut améliorer. Je pense qu'il y a des trucs qu'il faut améliorer pour moi et pour toute l'équipe. Donc je pense qu'on va travailler là-dessus.
Thank you and good luck.
Merci beaucoup.
Quick to thank the team, Sheikh Tiam. And as he said, c'est pas la fin du monde. It's not the end of the world, but it is not the start that Les Lionceaux would have hoped for here. See, 18 shots in total compared to just 3 for the CER. However, only 3 of the 18 on target for the reigning champions.